Z Pandemic is a multiplayer, third-person horror survival game, being currently under development by Caesar Monroy. In this tutorial, we'll be addressing the issue of how to create a fairly large playground to be used at later stages in the game development. As such, we need to establish a few rules or requirements that will allow us to mix and match the objects that will be used to fill up our scenes. Designers often fail to mention or even take into account at this early stage what is called the scale of things. More precisely, we are talking about human scale, and since the virtual world you'll be creating will be perceived through the eyes of your character, it makes sense that everything must be created to conform to such a scale. The camera's properties used to render the objects is also an important factor to determine the relative sizes of things. And lastly, but not least important, is the perspective the human player has about the character while moving in this virtual world. These three levels of abstraction makes it hard to maintain a one-to-one scale, as things modeled may be perceived as too small or too big when seen from the game's point of view. In the case of Z Pandemic, we've already solved this and come up with some magic numbers. The minimal resolution of the building grid in any axis will be of 25 centimeters, the basic unit will be of 3.5 meters, objects will be grouped in areas of 28 meters, and extents of each scene will be of 364 meters. These numbers are magic in the sense that they were selected after many trial and error tests. They do look good, at least from the perspective of the creator, and they are modular. That is, you can divide or multiply any number by an even integer and come up with the other numbers. Having established our extents, we come up with the first problem, the line of sight. Whenever you are working with large scenes, you'll want to limit the line of sight as much as possible in order to reduce rendering time that will impact negatively your frame rate. Since Z Pandemic's gameplay takes place within the confines of an urban landscape, one way to avoid a long line of sight is not use streets that stretch from one side to the other. We also need to take into consideration ways to block the line of sight when the character reaches the edges of our scene. By using end streets, where the streets turn at 90 degrees, we can limit the line of sight while the character is close to the center of the scene. But for the edges we will have to resort to adding some walls that not only will make it impossible to look beyond the current scene, but also present an easy way for the character to move into other scenes at specified points. One last thing. Since we don't know how many scenes will have the game, we need to make them tileable and also introduce some variation. The tileable requirement can be solved by using the same outer edge in every tile, while the variation issue can be addressed by making slight changes to the inner edges. For our purposes, we designed 4 different layouts. At the moment, the lines represents the roads and sidewalks so we can get a better idea as to where our buildings, or obstacles, will be located. Now that we have fleshed out how our playground will be built, in the next tutorial we will start doing some basic modeling in Maya 2017. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you soon.